This one is for my mother. I don't think I'm going to perform it again. So this will be the last time I think I'll perform this piece ever.
Why?
It's just a feeling.
Alright.
My mother is a breathing sight of trauma. They Ursula and Ariel the Little Mermaid out of her. She traded her special for 2 legs so she could walk on a land that hadn't thought of her beyond slave and slow death. My mother is the sun, y'all. But she's been made to think of herself as a lamp. You know one of those reading ones at the back of the living room? My mother is a river, y'all. But somehow she sees herself as a bath of lukewarm water, a forest confused with an indoor plant. Yo, my mother isn't a pebble or no fake lawn neither. She is the Everest. Nah, she is the Kilimanjaro of mountains. If only you knew how she had raised 4 black kids out of a shoebox flat in Frankston in the 90s on canned baked beans from the salvos, on tough love, on her tenacity, and on midweek bingo. Yo, I have seen them. I have seen them rip the voice from her throat and somebody else telling her story time and time again. You know, the white savior exploring barbarians from their own savagery narrative. You know, the Disney versus Brothers Grimm version. I have seen my mother lower herself just so she could sit on the seat of a white man's table. And I have known that this was the beginning of the end. Age 11, grade 6 sports day. I had won the highest placing in any track and field competition through the course of the whole day. Yet, the teachers gave the best overall medal to a lanky-legged, blonde, blue-eyed girl. I came home a puddle of tears and grey clouds. And my mother stormed to the principal's office and demanded a recount. Have you seen a sky turn the most fantastical shades of reds, of pinks, of oranges? This was the start after they felt my mother's thumb. They apologized, but they didn't give me my medal. You see, they call this integration, assimilation, not oppression. My brother, age 18, last day of school, as a prank with his friends, they defaced the school buildings with human feces. My brother was the only black student, and he was the only one expelled, and had to take his final exam at another school. And my mother fought tooth and nail for him to stay, but the staff were unflinching, escorted my mother out of the premise and labeled her a threat, a terrorist. When my mother first came to Australia 28 years ago, they were all like, your teaching degree is not recognized. So she went back to uni, completed a master's degree in nursing, got a job managing several nursing homes, but that meant the women who had coveted her position were not happy. They overthrew her in a bloodthirsty coup which made Game of Thrones look tame. They cursed her monkey, cursed her pig. The board decided that she had to leave and paid her out. How do you mourn the living? My mother is a breathing sight of trauma. I have laid flowers out on her body. They have put her on pills that say they're keeping her alive. I think they're killing her slowly. My mother is silent on most days. Her silence is paraplegic. Her body is all walls and fortresses, so her pain can't Cinderella and Rapunzel its way into happily ever after. My mother is a breathing sight of trauma because she has adopted the culture here that is staring up lots and lots of things and buying lots of nice things, glorifying war and hating other Africans. They have infantilized her to the same age as their public discourse. I just don't like it. It's okay to be white, okay? Gangs, my mother says. They make us good Africans look bad. They'll lump us all together, mar us with the same brush. On most days, my mother is all pews and Bible verse nonsense, like the meek shall inherit the earth, like being outspoken was an inconvenience as a woman, like a black woman normal is struggle. I think about my mother and how she probably questions whether she is a woman. A few years ago, her uterus was gutted out of her and now lives on a shelf in a laboratory somewhere. Well, my mother is a woman. My mother is a sun, a river, a forest, a mountain. My mother is a placenta of wounds which were stars once, shining on a dark canvas once, a survivor of trauma, and she is breathing, and that in itself is radical. She is breathing, and that in itself is a revolution. She is breathing, and that in itself is political. She is breathing, and that in itself is good. That enough, my mother.